The 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami, also known as the Boxing Day tsunami, took place at 7:58 local time on December 26, 2004. In one of the worst natural disasters in human history, the Sumatra Andaman earthquake, which registered a 9.1 to 9.3, caused a series of massive tsunami waves reaching 100 feet in some areas, taking the lives of over 230,000 people in a matter of hours. This specific tsunami was caused by what the scientific community calls a mega thrust earthquake. These earthquakes are caused by a slip along the thrust fault lines that form the contact between two plates. And since the 1900s, all earthquakes of magnitude 9.0 or greater have been considered mega thrust earthquakes. Now, I'm sure many of you are asking yourselves, why are we talking about a tsunami from back in 2004? Well, my friends, we've got some information to talk about. Once again, in this same exact part of the world that may be showing precursors to a repeat in history. This channel is no stranger to this part of the world, as we just made a video on April 2nd showing an activated tsunami buoy within the Andaman Sea, right smack in the middle of a major solar storm. We've also got a major earthquake that took place in the Pacific Ocean, not picked up by the USGS. My friends, we're going to break down all this information. We're doing it right here, right now. Let's go. Alright everybody, happy 420. We are going to get right into this, and right now we are on the USGS looking at the Andaman Sea, where that 2004 mega thrust earthquake caused a mega tsunami. That was one of the most devastating situations we've ever seen on planet Earth. Now, the reason we're talking about this today is because of a few different situations that have taken place over the last 2 weeks. Now, I have a set on 30 days, magnitudes 4.5 and higher, and what we're going to do is zoom right into this area so we can isolate this specific swarm of earthquake. And you can see over here on the left, these were ranging from 5.5 all the way down to 4.5. But more importantly, I want you to notice the date. This specific swarm of earthquakes right here in the Andaman Sea began on April 6th through April 10th. Now keep that in mind, because on this channel right here, April 2nd, 4 days before this earthquake swarm, we noticed something very interesting. And in order for this information to make sense, I'm going to play a section of this video we posted on April 2nd about this exact tsunami buoy that is currently going off again today, and not just once but 3 times in the last 40 hours. You can see right down here, this was posted on April 2nd, 2022, and you can see the chart where this thing dipped down 2 full meters out of nowhere, and this was during a geomagnetic storm. I'll link this video in the description box for you guys to check out yourselves, but a very similar situation is taking place right now. Now, I'm going to play a section from this video, and right after that, we're going to talk about how it relates to today and why we are talking about mega thrust earthquakes and a possible repeat in history of a tsunami. Here is that video from April 2nd right now. And I noticed this as well. You're looking at an active tsunami buoy in the Andaman Sea. Just to give you a reference of where this is, we're going to zoom into it on Google Earth and just show you where its location is. I'll back up here a little bit, and this is the Andaman Sea right here. And anytime you see a triggered tsunami buoy in this area, it is cause for concern, and there's a reason for that as well. And how some of the biggest earthquakes we've ever seen have taken place here. In fact, in 2004, there was a magnitude 9.3 within the Andaman Islands, right about here. And if you look at my pointer right now, this is exactly where the tsunami buoy is going off, right in the middle of the sea. There's also a bunch of charts and graphs on this website that explain how the sea floor was affected and how it played a significant role in why the tsunamis were so big. But the point I'm trying to make here is that during this solar flare phase, where we've seen all these flares and CMEs coming off the sun, we just happened to see an event that triggers a tsunami buoy. And you can see on this chart right here, the buoy dipped over 2 full meters, which is pretty hard to do. These are pretty decent sized buoys. They weigh a lot. Of course, sometimes boats can hit them, or even maybe a shark taking a snag at one of them. But for this thing to dip down so drastically in a short period of time, just as we're getting hit with this major solar wind, it's one of those deals where I just don't think it's a coincidence. All right, so that was our video back on April 2nd, talking about this exact area that seem to be getting triggered by a solar storm. Now, we've talked in many different videos about how solar wind and the effects of the sun can very much affect the crust of the Earth, and that includes the ocean floor. Now, of course, these cool diagrams you're looking at are just animations of what that 2004 tsunami wave looked like, and also what it would look like if it happened again. And now, to tie this all together, we are in current time. You're looking at this buoy in the Andaman Sea, once again in event mode. You can see the data right here where this thing dropped a decent amount in a short period of time, but check out 24 hours before that on the 19th. This was actually a rise in sea level in a very short period of time. And then if we backtrack even further, the first of these three triggers was also a rise in sea level. So there's something going on the sea floor in the Andaman Sea once again, where those major trenches and where those two tectonic plates are meeting together, which are known to cause mega thrust earthquakes. And just like on April 2nd, we can take a look at space weather today, and it is not hard at all to see the comparison between solar flares on the sun and the direct effects that it's having on the surface of the Earth. I mean, go ahead and line up these times, and you can see that just as we're getting hit with that strong solar wind from each solar flare, it then in turn triggered this tsunami buoy into event mode 3 separate times. And as we showed earlier in the video, this also took place on April 2nd, which was covered here on the Into Thin Air channel. So what I want to be clear about here is that I am just taking data that's available to any one of us, making some comparisons with that data, and showing that the more vulnerable places on planet Earth that can be affected by solar wind or even the slightest changes within the Earth's atmosphere itself could very well be some of the reasons of why we see these quote-unquote natural disasters and why the science says we should be expecting repeat events. For example, we also have La Palma. We have the situation that took place in the South Pacific Ocean with the Tonga volcano that almost got the entire world to start paying attention to not just space weather, but things all over planet Earth. I would love to hear your thoughts and ideas about this data and what you think this might all mean. So please feel free to utilize that comment section. And very quickly, before I let you guys go, we had a major 6.5 to 7.0 earthquake in the Pacific Ocean that was not picked up by the USGS. Take a look at this. We are looking at the one-day all magnitudes earthquakes here on the USGS, and just to show you this thing did not pop up, I'll go ahead and click 7 days all magnitudes, and you can clearly see there is no sign of a 6.5 to 7.0 earthquake in this part of the world. Now, did it happen? Did it not happen? It's hard to say, but when we look at websites like Volcano Discovery, you can see that that bad boy is right there. 1 day and 9 hours ago, an earthquake magnitude 6.5, 10 kilometers in depth, or 6.2 miles deep. All the detailed information on this earthquake is available on Volcano Discovery. As we said, you could see it right here. So my friends, your guess is as good as mine as to why the USGS did not post this earthquake, and it's also a perfect example of why the data we talked about today is something we should very much be discussing and not ignoring. These vulnerable parts of the Earth can and will produce destructive situations again. We just don't know exactly when. All right, my friends, I want to thank you all for taking the time to watch this video on this 420 day. I hope the beginning of your week goes well. Shout out to Canada, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye. Stop right there, my friends. If you have not already, click that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the bell icon. Click all, and you will get all notifications from this channel. And trust me, you won't be disappointed.